going to look at step 2 or step 3 now. So we've done step 1 and 2 in part 1, and we've got all our wheels done. There's the springs on the top there, and we've got all our wheels put away in a little sealed tub. These are great, these. My local Chinese started putting curry sauce in these instead of the little styrofoam cups, and they go in the dishwasher, clean them out. Absolutely wonderful for putting parts in, so thank you, Mr. Chinese Takeaway. I've got the parts off to do step 3. So if you are building one of these, take a little bit of care, because we have got some various bits and pieces going on here. We've got this one here, which they're calling swing arm A, so there's 2 of those, and then you've got right suspension A here, and then over here we've got left suspension A. So these swinging arms here are going to go into step 4 and 5, and then we've got a different set of swinging arms for step 6. So we really want to concentrate on doing 3, 4 and 5 before we start getting into step 6. You don't want to start mixing parts up. And I'll do it, you know, there's probably a difference that's identifiable. Yes, there is. Straight away you can tell which is which, because this one has this arm coming off the bottom that you can see here and here, sorry, whereas this one doesn't. So you could actually make them all up and they won't be confusing at all. So we will actually get on and do that, because we're going to have some seam work to do, and then you go on and build all the units up. So the other thing I was looking at is on here we have these bolts that go through. So we've got the arms going onto the shock absorbers, and we've got these bolts coming through from the back. We've got a lovely hex head on there, but they're telling us to put them in from the back. I wonder if we could put them in from the front, so I may well leave these off until we actually fit them on, and then we'll see if they foul the wheels or something. But if we can, it'd be better to have the bolt heads on the front, wouldn't it, than the back? It'd look much better. So although maybe on the real thing it's actually threaded, maybe they're threaded through or something. So we'll have a look. We've also got here the metal springs. We've got the real springs, which Paul doesn't like so much. I love real springs, even if the suspension isn't operable, because they just look so much better. Although I don't think we're going to see much of them, but I think the reason they're on here is to make the suspension workable, which on a tank with workable tracks is always a good thing, especially if you want to go for dioramas or something. If I wanted to put this on the back of a Scamwell being loaded or something, the suspension will sag and move and droop and everything, just as it will on the real thing. Whereas if you've built the Takom one, where you've got the tracks which are actually link by link, and they glue together, you sort of have to build that in. Whereas with this one, you can do anything with it. You could have it climbing over a log or something, and the suspension will take care of it. So as long as the tank's heavy enough, if it's not, you just put some weight in it just to weight it down a bit. That's another issue. So I've got the parts off here to do step 3 and a bit of step 4. I haven't got the shock absorbers off yet, because I'm thinking that we're going to have to start looking at painting, because when you actually look at this and we've got those arms up in there, it's going to be very difficult to get in there and paint it. And as you know, I'm crazy about, I do not want to have any light grey plastic showing. So we've got these off, cleaned out the sprue nibs. We can go on and start putting some together. So first of all, we've got B23 going to A8. So that's B23, that's A8 up there. So we can just pop these together, just like so. And what we'll do is put a drop of cement in one end, give it a squeeze. You can see we've got a bit of movement there. We can easily get that spring seat out of line, so we'll make sure that's all lined up nicely. Get some cement in there, and we'll get some cement into there as well. And we'll just put a drop underneath just to make sure. And there we go. So that's all nicely lined up. So yeah, what I can do here is a straight edge. We just push a straight edge into that spring seat to make sure it's lined up. Make sure that area down the bottom is lined up, and then on the end here we can see whether it's lined up or not and go from there. So yeah, a little bit of jiggery pokery needed there just to make sure everything's all correctly lined up. Of course, if you don't get these pins lined up, you're going to end up with your axles being all over the place, so it's a good idea to get them lined up. There we go. trying to think of a way to make sure they're lined up, because obviously, as I say, if they're not, if these here, those two pins, that pin there and that pin there, goes into your suspension mount like that, and then this is going to go over the top. Hang on. Let's put that together first. Close that cement because it stinks. So this is going to go into there like that. Okay, so there's your pivoting. Now obviously if those pins, if when you put that together, I'll show you on this one, yeah, you see there's play in there. I wish there was a tighter fit, but when you put that together, that can actually move around, and if you've got them way off, then basically your axle, when you look at it end on, is going to sit on an angle, which means your wheels won't sit nice on the track, so we're going to have to be careful of that. But we'll see how we go. So, not quite sure how we can guarantee they're in line. Maybe if we take our calipers, don't need to put them on at all, take our calipers, give that a squeeze and check that everything's, what I'm doing is just looking to see that that axle is square. That's one way perhaps. We could also do it on the spring seat. I'd rather guarantee the axle is good than the spring seat, but then I suppose if that's right and the spring seat is right, I guess the axle will come in. When I say axle, I mean this bit here. So we'll see how it comes out at the end of the day. So I'll go on and get the rest of these assembled, and then I'll come back and we'll look at how it all goes together. Okay, so they're all assembled, we've got all the arms done, and as you can see there's an obvious difference between the ones from step 3 and then the ones from step, was it 6? Yeah. So these are the ones from step 6. So you've got 4 of those, or 4 sets, so there's 8 of those. And then you've got 2 sets of these, so there's 4 of these. And these are the ones that have got the little arm on the bottom there. So you don't have to worry about them getting mixed up. So I've glued them together, let the glue go off for an hour, and then I've gone round and sanded the joints. And as you can see, there is a bit of an issue there. Now, not really going to worry about anything. Now, I will just say here, I am a right fuss ass, I'm a right fuss pot, and I like to make work for myself. This area, I'll show you the assembly, it's here, I've got one dry built. So obviously, you can't see anything around the spring mounts or anything around the upper area here. So there's no point in doing any seam work there at all. Now underneath, you may not care, you may not give 2 hoots, but I like to do things nice just because it's modelling and it's nice to get it nice. So I'm going to actually fill down here where that gap is and just sand it out just to make it smooth. Maybe in real life there are casting marks, or I don't know, but I just don't want to see seams. I don't like them, even if it is underneath. It's just me, I'm just fussy. You'll see I do a lot of work on stuff you can't see, but if it's stuff you really can't see, like in there, I'm not going to worry about it. But you will see me work on an aircraft, and I'll work on parts of the cockpit that when it's close up you really can't see any of it. So, you know, but it's just nice to have the cockpit there all photographed and filmed. So anyway, enough waffling. Reason I put this together is to show you why I'm going to spray inside here black first, because you're obviously getting the black paint into there is going to be a nightmare. So obviously I'm going to spray this and in here black, and I'll spray these arms and everything black before it's assembled. We also need to spray the springs. Now these are stainless steel springs and they're very shiny, so they're going to have to be degreased. We'll put them in some Mr. Tool Cleaner or something. I'm also going to rough them up a bit so the paint sticks a bit better. So just come along. You're only going to be able to get the outside edge really, but otherwise the paint is just going to flake off. I'll put some etch primer on them, but it's probably not going to do anything because basically the etch primer is rubbish. And what I would normally do is stand them on a magnet and paint them, but here they won't stick to a magnet because they're non-magnetic stainless. So we're going to put them into our blue tack here and just push them in, and they'll stay there. And then once we've painted one side, just spray them, and then we'll turn them over and do the other side. So we've got 6 circles there where our return rollers were. So we'll just get some etch primer on them. I will show you what I'm going to use. I will use this one here, which is Mr. Metal Primer. Okay, 2 coats of that. It doesn't really do a lot. I would use the VMS one, which is here. Where is it? Where's it gone? Metal Prep. There it is. But they do recommend this one only for brushing. So I don't really want to go brushing them. And I don't know, maybe I will use this and spray it on, because it does seem to work better than that one, I must be honest. Perhaps I will use that one. I'll let you know how I've done it after I've done it. So we'll get those etch primed, then we'll turn them over, etch prime them again, let that dry, and then we'll get everything painted black. And what I'm going to do in the meantime, these seams you've got on the bottom here that you're going to see, I'm just going to get a drop of super glue. This is the, I'll put it back away again. This is the VMS VMS Flexi K 5 CA. This stuff, this is the black thin. There's also an ordinary black. Is absolutely brilliant. It doesn't dry instantly. That's the only downfall. If you want an instant drying glue, that's not the one for you. But it makes a fantastic filler. And I'm just going to put that in there just to fill that area, just so that when it's sanded, it looks smooth. Yes, it's unnecessary. Yes, I'm being fussy. But as I say, it's just what I like to do. And I've always been the same. And to use a modern phrase, it's how I roll. But this is what I like to do. And if you want to criticise me, carry on. But I won't take any notice, because I've always done it this way. So, which I agree, always done it this way is no reason to do anything, but it's just how I like to do things. And yes, I know it's not required, not necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'll get this done, let that dry, I'll get that etch primer on, and then I'll come back and show you how we're getting on. Now, as you can see there, well, you can't really see, can you? I've painted the springs. I painted them first on there, that way out, went all the way around, made sure it went in all directions, and then turned them over, went in that way around. So they've got the Metal Prep 4K, and I've sprayed it on. It's thin enough to spray on with an airbrush. I don't know why they tell you to brush it. Can't really see the difference. The biggest problem is if you look at my Scamel tank transporter build, there's some mesh around the exhaust. I brushed it on there. It wasn't until I painted it green I realised I'd sort of made, you know, like crystal clear window effect across the mesh. So yeah, be very careful. But I've sprayed that on there. It's been on there about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. So I'm going to give it a coat of black primer now, and I'm going to use my Mr. Surfacer 1500 black, well, Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500 black, as I always do, thinned, ready for the airbrush, roughly 50-50. People always ask, how much do you thin Mr. Surfacer? There is no real, you know, you just do it till it's like, you know, ready how you want it to spray. If you're having trouble getting out of the airbrush, thin it a bit. If it's running everywhere and not covering, thicken it up a bit. The trouble is with Mr. Surfacer, it goes thicker with time. So the longer it's sat in the jar, the thicker it will get. I mean, if you look at my Mr. Surfacer 500 here, this bottle isn't that old. But if you look at this, you will see, you know, it's like treacle in there. It's really thick. So it just thickens with age. So we just put some leveling thinners in it. I would recommend not using rapid thinners in it, because when you spray it with rapid thinners, it won't level. There's the whole purpose of leveling thinners, it will level it out. But anyway, I'm going on a complete tangent there. So I'm going to get all this sprayed black. I'm going to get this super glue down here rubbed down, and I'll use my little Infini. This is the Infini PE sander set, available for Premium Hobbies. Absolutely brilliant. You've got 2 pointed ones there, and then you've got a 3mm, a 2mm, a 3mm, a 5mm and a 10mm. As you can imagine, this being flat and hard is great for sanding things flat without getting any rounded edges on them. So really handy little set. So and then you've got these little narrow ones that are great for getting in narrow little places like this and getting in between those flanges. Look, and I can just get in there and sand away until that joint and those seams have disappeared. And I haven't touched the outer flanges at all. Look. So that's how I do it. Right. Lots of sanding to do, a bit of spraying, and I'll be back. So all the black painting is done. As I can show you there, you can see these etch primers are just really a waste of time. They just don't work. They just do not work at all. Many years ago, you used to be able to get a 2-pack. It was I think it was a yellow zinc primer, and it was like a yellow liquid that you mix with a clear liquid, 50-50 I think, and that stuff really did work. It really etched into the metal. But all the stuff now, everything I've tried since, you know, I think they've banned some chemicals in it, and now you get the U-Pol one, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like a grey primer. You get the stuff in the aerosols, they're all rubbish. None of them work as well as the old stuff. So I don't really know where we go from here, but anyway, so, and I guess that's stainless steel, so I guess it won't work so well on that. So we have step 3, we've done all that, we've got all that together, we've dealt with all the seams, so, you know, it's not perfect, but it's better than it was. That's what we're after, really. So we can go on now to step 4 and start doing some assembling. So the first thing they're asking us to do, well, this is actually part of step 3, these ones with the lever arms on the bottom, so I'll take one right and one left. So we're going to do that, okay, and then we want one spring, and then we want one of these back plates, and then we want this part here, C24. Now you've got C24, and over here you've got C25. And I wanted to get them both off to painting, and what I noticed, C24 is like that, C25 is like that. Can you spot the difference? There's a little slot down there on C25, so this is C24. So we know that the one without the slot is the right hand side. So I don't quite know the best way to put this together. What they're telling you to do is put that in and put that in, but that won't go in because those legs won't go over. So I'm thinking the best way probably is to put that like that. Oh, I've scraped the paint off the inside of these legs as well to get a better joint. There are ejector pin marks in here, but they don't foul with anything, so you can just leave them. So I'm just wondering if we can get these two together and just get them to go in. Just sort of pull that back. I want it to come back, not fall off. Maybe it'd be better to do it this way around. My voice is going, isn't it? Some of you will be pleased to know. Maybe this is the better way. The spring wants it all to just fall apart, that's the trouble. So if we can lay that down. There we go, it sort of pulls it all together. But you need to make sure you've got some stops here. You could probably see them, although they are black. You can see there's some stops there. You've got to make sure those arms stay above them. So now we have working suspension, so that's pretty cool. As long as the model is heavy enough to make it sag enough, or make it sit low enough. So now what I'm going to do is put a drop of extra thin in there, and a drop of extra thin in there, and a drop on there, maybe a drop in each corner that can capillary around, and then we'll grab a peg or two, and hold it together like that. Maybe we should also put a drop there and a drop there. So that's that done. So what I'm going to do now, not pretty instructions, I'm going to do the other one. I'm going to do this one while that's drying, and then we can come back and start looking at these shock absorbers. Okay, so we've got all the parts here off the sprue to carry on. So these are Here we go, these are A28, A27. We've got two B22s, and then we're going to move down here and we've got the A31. I haven't got the C15 off yet, but we won't put it on yet, so we'll get paint underneath there first. And I'm not going to put the A22 on because it's going to be very vulnerable to being broke, and I'm not going to put the return roller on because I haven't finished painting them yet. These bolts, when I said I was going to turn around and put it the other way, no point, because it's all hidden behind the wheel. So the reason they've put them through that way is so you've got the detail when you look underneath. So let's get on with this then. So we've got A28 and A27 up here, and basically what they're telling us to do, if you look here, they're saying 1, 2, 3, do this first with no cement into number 2. So we just check that is the right one. Yes, it is. And you can see that you can tell which is which because on the back they've got this triangular cut out on the back, and the front face has got this. So these, I think, are going to pop in. Look at that. How's that for lovely? So just push that in there, give it a squeeze. That's it, and I've got a working shock absorber. In the middle of there is a line. It's supposed to be there. It's not a seam line, so leave that, don't sand it away. So take one of these, doesn't matter which one because at this point they're both the same. The other thing you notice is this light grey plastic has got this peg on it, and that's going to go in there like so. And what I don't want to do is be able to see any light grey, so just in case, I know this is OTT, just in case, I'm going to put some black marker, and I'll do it on all 4 of them while we're here to save me keep getting the pen out. But no, I'll just do these 2, I'll do the other 2 off camera. So that is going to go on there like that. Hang on, this one is for this side. That block, that square block faces down. So that's going to go on there like that, so we can hold that in place. Get that arm out of the way because we don't want to get any glue on there. We can just put a drop of cement in there, let it capillary down, and then make sure it's straight. It's not a very good location. It's got a D-shaped pin on there, but it's not a great location. There's also a great big mould seam on this part, so make sure you get rid of that as well. So we'll make sure that's vertical. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. Let's move my chair up. That's the wrong way around, Nige. There we go. So as you can see, there's a lot of, I can put it in the hole, there's a lot of movement. So we need to make sure we get it square, so just drop of cement just to get it tacked in place. And then get it square. There we go. So that's square. Right, so now that's square, we can put some more cement on there because we don't want it breaking off, do we? And there we go. So I'm going to let those dry before we do anything else because I think they're going to get pulled about, and they're not going to want to. They're going to want to move if I keep if I put the arms on now. There we go. And there we are. That's those in place. Right. So I'm going to do the other 2 off camera while they're drying, and then I'll come back and we'll do the arms and everything. Okay, so it's been a while now and the glue should be hard enough to withstand doing this. So we've now got to do these A31 and then these pins that are going to go in. So they're going with the 2 little nubbings at the bottom. So I'm going to fit them to the shock absorber first. So that's going to go in there. Oops, just drop that one, I'll have to pick it up in a second. So then that's going to go in, and I guess it's just going to push in. Well, that's a bit weird. They're telling you to put them in with no cement, but they won't stay in there. So what we're going to have to do, tiny drop of extra thin quick setting will be enough to hold it in. And if you just put a tiny drop in there, it'll be fine. The reason I use the quick setting, if it does go through and stick, you can do this and you'll feel it suddenly go loose. That'll be fine. So let's hope this bottom one is better. That glue has gone through there. This is why I use the quick setting. You'll feel it if you do it on yours. Let's just do this other one, see if this one's the same. I've shown this before, I think it was in the Scammell. If you use the quick setting glue, where you have the risk of things seizing up, what happens is, yeah, that's... There's the kids outside. What happens is, if the glue weeps it into the part, what happens is you'll feel it sort of like when it's glued up, it sort of feels all gungy, and all of a sudden it'll just free up. Because it's quick setting, it doesn't get a chance to dissolve anything, it just literally sticks it in place. You can see that one there now is free as anything. That one's absolutely fine. So we can get a pin in this bottom one. Hopefully it'll be a bit tighter. I've put the pin in from the front. That could be the problem. No, it wouldn't make any difference, would it? Let me take this out and do it properly, because that's the trouble. You see, when you're doing videos on camera, you're doing stuff and you're trying to concentrate what you're doing and talk at the same time. I'll get these out and then I'll come back. Okay, so it made no difference. They still just went in like a prick in a top hat. Or a Bristolian phrase like chucking a sausage up Park Street. If you're Bristolian, you'll know what I mean. So we can get this one in. I think we're going to need tweezers for this one. In fact, I'm going to get my beautiful Anise tweezers. These things are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Best tweezers on the planet, I reckon. But they do have a downside. They're very, very sharp. So you have to be very careful with them. But when you squeeze them together, I've shown these in reviews, when you squeeze them together, they don't do that, which tweezers normally do. That's a much tighter fit in there. That's much better. So grab another one. Hold that in there like so. Slice the arm in. Slice the arm in? Place the arm in. My English lessons are my English lessons are coming on. There we go. And I'm going to glue these in because although they did go in, they didn't feel very tight. I don't want them to fall out, especially while I'm building a model, because I have to make another one then. There we go. So you can see how that works. That's your shock absorbers working with your springs. And now you can see why I painted up inside there black, because you can imagine all this lovely light grey plastic up in there. It would stick out like a sore thumb, even if like a square millimetre of it. Although you're not going to look up in there, I know, but hey. Modelling is all about, getting things done and taking your time. So that's that. So I'm going to get the other side done, and then I guess we need to move on and start looking at these over here. Okay, there we go. There is another benefit to this light grey plastic, and it's awesome. These tiny little pins I've dropped 4 of them. I dropped, it may have been the same one I dropped 4 times, but I dropped 4 pins, and I managed to find them every time in the carpet, and they're absolutely tiny. It's because this light grey plastic, it sticks out like a sore thumb. The carpet in here is like a beigey browny colour, and yeah, that Hobby Boss camel, it's a nightmare because it's nearly the same, well, it's not nearly the same colour, but it's close. So right, so that's that done. Now, as I say, we haven't done that, we haven't done that, and we haven't done that for the reasons I just explained. So we've done all that as well. We've done all this. We've done step 6. So we can go over the page now and we can look at step 7. And step 7 is basically we've got to make 2 of those and 2 of those. The only difference in these is it's the way this L goes. You can see here on that one the L is like a normal L. Okay, see the L I'm talking about here, that's the mounting for the side guards, and then this one is like a backward L. So one of them has the L the right way round and one of them has it the wrong way round, and I'm trying to see which is which. I may have to go back to my review video, or maybe I can see it in the sprue call out. You can't see it on there. I'll go back and find. I was going to write it on there, but I thought there was a way you could tell. Hang on. Okay, so I was getting a bit confused there. I was thinking about when I could see this L in here. I was thinking I was going to use that. Never mind, it doesn't matter. It's not insurmountable. Looking in the instructions, you can see we've got these supports going in the side here, and this one is A21 and this one is A22, so they're different. So A22, here's the sprue. This is something else I do, guys. You've got that massive A sprue. Once you've got most of it off, just chop up the little bits off and just keep it in a pot like that, right? So rather than having a great big sprue all around. So A21 has the little leg going to the left, and A21 goes into A25. So those two there must be A25, because that part there, 21, has the leg to the right, and that is the normal shape L. So we'll put those over there. So the A22 here is to the left. So these must be A26. So we're going to use these 2 first. So again, as we did before, we're going to take 2 of these. We're going to assemble them together, just like so. And then they are going to go into there. In fact, on this one we can actually do it on the back plate. The back plates are the same. So the squeaky noise you can hear is the chair, it's not anything else, just in case you're wondering. I still haven't built my Secret Labs chair yet. I can't believe it. I've had it nearly a year around. Right. But at the moment I'm just concentrating on, when I'm not doing videos, I'm concentrating on Jess, so I'm not really doing anything. I haven't been out in the garage or anything this year. Okay, so that's gone together. So we're going to put some glue there, let that run around. Sorry, I get told off if I call it glue. It's not glue, it's cement. Put some in there, put some in there. Then put some inside there and inside there. There we go. And once again, you can see why I painted all that in there black. So grab a couple of clothes pegs, make sure the clothes pegs don't interfere with those tabs. And then that can be left to dry. So there we go. So that's that one. We'll just do another one. And that way. That way. That can go on to there. that can go into there. This is not working out easy. I'll tell you what, I'll do this off camera. You've seen me do one. I'll come back when they're dry and we'll get these bits fitted on the end. Right, so as you can see here, sorry, in the instructions, we've got these parts here, A15. These are the little bump stops, and they're sitting on the ends of the suspension units there. So this is actually made up of this part here is this part here at the back, and then this part here is the front. So you've got a step in between. So I've just gone in with a knife and just basically cleaned up, just in an effort to remove that step. So I'm going to take some cement, put it on there, and then grab one of these bump stops and see how it goes. I dry fitted one and it looked great, but it's very difficult when you're dry fitting because it just falls off as soon as you leave it. But the main thing is we want them to be square and equal about. We don't want them to be all like, you want them to be nice and even and level and everything. But, yeah, nice. So it's got a nice bolt pattern around it as well. So there's one, and then I'm just putting a drop of cement on here just to give it something to bite on. There we go. I can hear Jess below me making noises because it's time for WALKIES. Luckily she can't spell yet. There we go. So that's gone on. Just though it looks a little bit odd because this is at an angle, so when it's square it'll be pointing directly at this pad that it goes up against. So that's how it needs to be. There we are, let that go off, and then we'll do another two, and then I think we'll call it a day. Oh look, the camera's on, how can you tell? There we go. So yeah, they need to be not square to that plate, they need to be square so that when the suspension arm comes up, this plate here lines up with it. So there we go. It's all good. One more on the other side. Just like so. Some more cement in there, let that get it to work. There we are. Those bump stops are very nicely done. They got the actual rubber bump stop on the end, you can see here, and then they've got the bolt detail which is holding the bump stop on, which is gorgeous. You got the flange detail there. It's very, very nicely done. I must say, I think this is the nicest tank kit I've ever built. I mean, mini art stuff is bloody lovely. This is very, very nice indeed. Right, so we'll call it a day there for part 2. I said we do up to part 8 up to section 8 in part 2. So there we go. It's been just over half an hour, isn't it? Nearly 40 minutes. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. As I say, if you like what you've seen, please hit that little square just there with my face in it, and you'll get to subscribe, and and if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, and if you haven't liked it, hit the thumbs down. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you for part 3, when we're going to start on the hull and get all the gearbox and everything in, and then we're going to jump forward, aren't we, to the step where we're going to put all the suspension in, make the tracks and all that. So we're going to jump forward to step 28. So yeah, don't ever tell me I can't count. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 28. Okay, so we'll see you for that. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.